Come closer, if you will. Settle in and make yourself comfortable. Let's talk about something that's both utterly mundane and profoundly mysterious. Something we all experience, yet rarely truly understand. I'm talking, of course, about time. Think about it for a moment. Time. We measure it, we spend it, we save it, we waste it, we even kill it. But what is it really? Is it a river flowing relentlessly in one direction? Is it a vast ocean in which we are all adrift? Or perhaps something far stranger? Let's start with a simple yet startling statement. It is always now. Every single experience you've ever had, every joy, every sorrow, every breath, every thought, it all happened and is happening in the now. Even as you hear these words, you are experiencing them in the present moment. This very second, this breath, this flicker of your attention, this is all there is. This is the eternal now. It's a concept that can feel both obvious and deeply unsettling. Obvious because, well, isn't it always now? Unsettling because it challenges our deeply ingrained perception of time as a linear progression, a march from past to future. Think back to your childhood. Remember those long, seemingly endless summer days? Hours stretched out like taffy, filled with adventure and discovery. Time seemed to move at a leisurely pace, almost as if it were in no hurry at all. What happened to that time? Where did those long, languid days go? Now, fast forward to today. Days seem to fly by in a blur. Weeks melt into months and years vanish in the blink of an eye. We find ourselves constantly chasing time, feeling perpetually behind, always rushing to catch up. What shifted? Did time itself change its pace? Of course not. Time, in its fundamental nature, likely ticks on at a consistent rhythm. What has changed is our perception of time, and more importantly, our relationship with it. We've become masters of what we call killing time. Think about it. What do we mean when we say we're killing time? We're essentially trying to make time pass faster, to get through it, to reach some future point we deem more desirable. We scroll endlessly through social media feeds, binge-watch television series, and play mindless games on our phones, all in the name of killing time. But consider the irony, my friend. While we are busy trying to kill time, time in its relentless march forward is quietly, inexorably killing us. Every second we spend mindlessly scrolling, every hour we waste in passive entertainment is a second and an hour of our precious finite lives slipping away, never to be recovered. It's a sobering thought, isn't it? It's not meant to be morbid, but rather a wake-up call. We are given this extraordinary gift of life, a limited span of time to experience, to learn, to love, to create, to be, and yet, so often we treat this precious gift as if it were a burden, something to be endured, something to be killed. Imagine someone gifting you a priceless jewel, a gem of unimaginable beauty and rarity. Would you take that jewel and toss it carelessly into a drawer, forgetting about it, letting it gather dust? Or would you cherish it, admire it, find ways to appreciate its beauty and value? Time, my friend, is that priceless jewel. It is the very fabric of our lives. And yet, how often do we treat it with the same careless disregard as that forgotten jewel in the drawer? We live in a culture obsessed with productivity, efficiency, and achievement. We are constantly told to make the most of our time, to be productive, to optimize our lives. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with these aspirations, they can easily lead us into a trap. The trap of treating time as a commodity to be exploited, rather than a dimension of life to be experienced. We become so focused on the future, on achieving goals, on reaching milestones, that we forget to actually live in the present moment. We postpone joy, delay gratification, always telling ourselves, I'll be happy when, I'll relax when, I'll enjoy life when. But when does when ever truly arrive? The future is always just beyond our grasp. As soon as we reach one when, another one appears on the horizon. We become trapped in a perpetual cycle of future-oriented living, constantly chasing a happiness that remains perpetually out of reach. Think of the story I shared before, of the wealthy businessman who dedicated his life to building his empire, always postponing joy for some future date. He finally achieved his goals and amassed wealth and power, only to realize that he had traded away his life in the process. He had missed his children growing up, neglected his relationships, and sacrificed countless moments of simple joy, all in pursuit of a future that, when it finally arrived, felt strangely empty. This story, though perhaps fictionalized, resonates with a deep truth. The future we chase is an illusion. The past we cling to is a memory. The only reality we ever truly have is now, this moment, this breath, this heartbeat. But here's the challenge. We understand this intellectually. We can nod our heads in agreement and acknowledge the wisdom of living in the present moment. And yet, we continue to live as if the present moment is merely a stepping stone to some future happiness. We treat the now as if it's disposable, something to be endured rather than experienced. Consider how often you find yourself wishing away the present moment. I can't wait for the weekend. I just need to get through this week. I'll be happy when this project is over. These are all subtle ways of rejecting the present moment, of devaluing the now in favor of some imagined future. Let's try a small experiment together, shall we? Right now, as you are hearing these words, just pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Feel the air filling your lungs. Notice the sensation of your body in your chair or wherever you are. Listen to the sounds around you. Observe the thoughts that are passing through your mind, without judgment, simply as passing clouds. This, my friend, is your life, happening right now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, but in this very instant. This is the only moment you are ever truly guaranteed. This simple exercise reveals a profound truth. The quality of our life is not determined by what we achieve in the future or what we have accumulated in the past, but by the quality of our presence in each moment. When we are fully present, when we are truly engaged with the now, time ceases to be something to be killed or something that is killing us. Instead, it becomes the very medium through which we experience the richness, the beauty, and the wonder of life. But you might be thinking, this all sounds lovely in theory, but how do I actually do it? How do I maintain this presence in a world that seems designed to distract me, to pull me away from the present moment? How do I stay in the now when my mind is constantly racing, filled with worries about the future and regrets about the past? These are valid and important questions, and the answer, like most things in life, is not a simple one-step solution, but rather a process, a practice, a way of being. Firstly, it's crucial to understand that being present doesn't mean ignoring the future or denying the past. It doesn't mean you can't plan or learn from your experiences. It simply means doing so while remaining grounded in the current moment. When you plan for the future, do it consciously with awareness. When you reflect on the past, do it with mindful reflection, extracting lessons without getting lost in regret or nostalgia. Don't let either activity pull you completely out of the now. Secondly, start to become aware of those moments when you are killing time. Catch yourself when you reach for your phone out of boredom, when you start mindlessly scrolling, when you find yourself wishing away the present moment. These are moments of your life slipping through your fingers. Instead of automatically resorting to these time-killing habits, pause and ask yourself, what else could I do with this moment? How could I engage with it more consciously? Perhaps you could simply take a few deep breaths and observe your surroundings. Maybe you could strike up a conversation with someone nearby. Perhaps you could simply sit in silence and allow yourself to be present with your own thoughts and feelings. The possibilities are endless once you become aware of the habit of killing time and choose to break free from it. Thirdly, pay attention to those moments when time seems to disappear, when you become completely absorbed in an activity, when you lose yourself in the flow of experience. Think about activities that bring you joy, that engage your senses, that challenge you in a meaningful way. Whether it's creating art, playing music, engaging in a sport, having a deep conversation with a loved one, spending time in nature, or simply cooking a meal with mindful attention. Notice how time feels different in these moments. This is what psychologists call flow state, and it's a powerful clue to how we might better relate to time. In flow, time seems to expand or contract. often becoming irrelevant altogether. We are so fully immersed in the present moment that there is no room for worry about the future or regret about the past. We are simply being, fully alive, fully engaged. Consider this paradox. When we try to kill time, it often feels like time drags on, heavy and burdensome. But when we engage fully with life, when we immerse ourselves in meaningful activities, time seems to flow naturally, effortlessly. When we resist the present moment, we experience time as an enemy, as something to be conquered or escaped. But when we embrace the present moment, time becomes our ally, the very canvas upon which we paint the masterpiece of our lives. Now let's be realistic. Maintaining a constant presence in our fast-paced, distraction-filled world is a challenging endeavor. It's not about achieving some unattainable state of perpetual enlightenment. It's about cultivating a practice of presence, a gradual shift in our relationship with time. The key is not to aim for perfection, but to simply become more aware, more intentional, and more present in our daily lives. Think of it like learning to dance. At first, you might feel clumsy and awkward stepping on your partner's toes and counting the steps mechanically in your head. But with practice, with patience, with gentle persistence, something shifts. You begin to feel the rhythm, to move more fluidly, to connect with your partner, to enjoy the dance itself, rather than just thinking about the steps or worrying about making mistakes. Similarly, our relationship with time can evolve from one of conflict, of struggle, of killing or being killed, to one of harmony, of flow, of graceful movement. Instead of fighting against time, we can learn to dance with it, to move with its rhythm, to appreciate each moment for the unique and precious gift that it is. This brings us to a fundamental question, a question that each of us must answer for ourselves. How do we want to spend the time we have? Because make no mistake, time is being spent, whether we choose consciously or not. Every moment is an investment, and the returns on that investment are the experiences, the memories, the relationships, the growth that make up the tapestry of our lives. Imagine yourself at the end of your life looking back. What will you see? Will you see a life spent chasing future goals, constantly postponing joy, mindlessly killing time in the present? Will you see a life filled with regret for missed opportunities, for moments not savored, for relationships neglected? Or will you see a life lived fully, consciously, present moment by present moment? Will you see a life filled with meaningful experiences, deep connections, moments of joy and wonder, moments of growth and learning, moments of simply being fully alive? The beauty is, we don't have to wait until our deathbed to ask ourselves these questions. We can ask them right now, in this very moment, in this eternal present. We can choose right now to shift our relationship with time. We can decide to stop treating time as an enemy to be killed or a tyrant that is killing us, and instead see it as the precious, irreplaceable medium through which we experience the miracle of life. Remember, every moment you have ever experienced and every moment you will ever experience happens in the now. The past exists only as a memory, a collection of nows that have already passed. The future exists only as imagination, a projection of nows that are yet to come. The present moment, this very now, is where life actually happens, where choices are made, where love is felt, where growth occurs, and where meaning is found. So, my friend, as we close, I invite you to pause again. Take another conscious breath. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Notice the gentle rhythm of your breathing. This is your life happening right now. How will you choose to engage with it? Will you continue the old patterns of killing time or feeling killed by time? Or will you choose to dance with time, to flow with it, to appreciate each moment, to savor the now as the extraordinary gift that it truly is? The choice, as always, is yours, and that choice, that power, exists only in this moment, the eternal now. Remember, it is always now, and now, and now.